There, this is Erica Merrill, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. And I am very excited, as always, to have with us today attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. And she is a family attorney out of Worcester. She owns her firm. And today is actually her 19th anniversary of being an attorney in Massachusetts. Wow. And also, she has a certificate to practice in Hawaii, and that has been for the last 11 years. And so congratulations, first of all, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Time has really flown by, and it's amazing all the cases and all the people that I've helped in that time frame.
I know, if you could write a book, I'm sure it would be one of the best sellers out there. Okay, so I guess enough with the celebration. Let's talk about what's happening in the courts right now.
Well, the newest and latest and greatest is that the courts are going to be closed at least until July 1st. And that's exactly how the courts have written the order, at least until. My guess is that it's going to be continued even later than that. There are rumors that the judges have indicated it's probably going to go through August at least. So it's just something to be aware of, that the courts are closed to the public, but they are not closed for business.
Wow, that is that's interesting, because I know we've talked about this before. They are conducting business and they're doing most of it via teleconference. Is that right?
Depends on the court, but they are either doing it by teleconference or by video conferencing, depending on which court and which location and what accessibilities they have. All of the courts have now obtained their cameras, so they can do Zoom conferences if they so choose. Some of them are choosing to, some of them still like the telephone, and obviously on a limited basis, they are doing in person.
Wow, and how is it working? Is it going pretty smoothly?
It's going better than I anticipated. The Zoom calls, I think, are the best because you do get to see everybody, you get to see everyone's reaction, you get to hear everyone. The judge does get a sense of you, and certainly putting a face to the case really helps the judge. They'll be able to remember the circumstances if they had you in front of them before, that type of thing. I will say that as a caution, you have to dress appropriately, because guess what? You are being viewed by the judge, and that is something that they can take into consideration. The video conferencing is a little less productive, only in the fact that we are waiting longer. So telephone conferencing is more like sitting in the courtroom. They're giving you a block of time. Be ready and be available between 9 and 11. So unfortunately, there's a lot of things, depending on when I'm on that call or something like that, I might have to bill my client for that time that I'd be waiting in the courtroom. So it's a little frustrating, but cases are being heard, they are being taken care of, and the judges are making decisions within a couple of days or so.
Wow, that's really great. I mean, but the processing of some of the paperwork is still taking a little longer. Is that right?
It depends on what it is. So they're processing, if you file a complaint or something like that, they will issue the summons. It's probably taking about a week longer, so it's not really that hard. And it's coming realistically from people's homes. So we are getting things that are handwritten rather than directly from the court, so you can kind of tell that. Other things where we're waiting for court orders, if the judge rules on a case from the bench and we're all participating and we know what it is, those things are taking much longer to go through the pipeline, to get docketed and to move on. We know what that court order is, we can abide by it, but unfortunately we don't necessarily have it in our hands.
Now, since the courts are opening up a little later, and like people may have issues that are pending, and some people may want to put things off, but I mean, in your opinion, when is a good time to consult an attorney?
Now. It actually was 2 months ago, but definitely now. There's going to be real delays with the court. As it is now, we're already being told that the cases that were on for trial in March, April, May, June, and then probably July and going on, those are all going to get priority. So all of your cases that you file now are going to fall behind all of those cases. So something that you might be able to have a hearing on in a month, they're now rescheduling them for 3 months out. Like a divorce proceeding, generally you'd go on your pretrial pretty much on the 6 month anniversary. Now we're booking them 9 months out. The longer you wait, the longer it's going to be before you can actually go into court and finalize whatever you're trying to finalize.
Wow, that's really interesting. I mean, and we could kind of foresee that it's going to be, backed up because so many people are waiting. It's just like everyone waiting to get a haircut. But this is way more serious. So let's say that I was going to do mediation and I wasn't going to use an attorney. Now, I know mediators may or may not be attorneys, but they can help you come up with an agreement. Is it important to start now, or do you think there's a little more leeway with mediation?
I think it has a double-edged sword. I think the reality is I would certainly encourage you to do mediation now, because if you do mediate the agreement and you get a full agreement on things, we are submitting them to the court. I just submitted something a week ago and we're getting a court date at the end of June. So we've already gotten approved for a hearing, which normally would take about a month's time frame, and they're moving us up, and now we're doing it in 2 weeks. So there is a difference in what you're doing. I think if you have an agreement and you can mediate it, first and foremost, do it, because again, that's an advantage to you, that you can resolve your issues and the court can enter a judgment. Now, the only exception to this is that in housing court, you can't have any judgments enter. But all the other courts will have judgments enter as needed upon agreement of the parties.
So when should I file for divorce? If I know there's always a lot of, there could be a lot of waiting at times, and people hem and haw over this, and they're coming up with agreements before they file. Is it important to file before you come up with an agreement? What's your opinion on that?
I think you need to know where the other party is. If you're saying the other party is not going to agree to anything and you know that, file now. If you know that there might be some wiggle room and somebody might be inclined to want to settle, then let us either negotiate, mediate, or try to resolve the issue and then see if we can get into court quickly. So I think you should know what the situation is, know what the other party is expecting, and if you can kind of understand that and understand what the goals are, because then you can make an educated decision as to whether it's to file now or to hopefully work out an agreement and then file a joint agreement. Certainly the biggest thing is, if you know that that other party is not going to agree to anything, consult with an attorney, get the advice, hire them, and let's file. Because if you don't do that, again, every court is going to have a backlog, and the backlog is just going to continue to grow.
Well, I mean, it sounds like your message is act now, because there's going to be a big wait, and to try to figure out where you are and where the party is that you're divorcing, or whatever the family court issue is. Really, it's not just about divorce. Sometimes there's issues of custody and changing child support and lots of other things that are out there. Is there anything else that we should know about courts and the system and what's happening right now with this whole COVID-19 pandemic?
I think there's a couple things. One is that, again, if you file now, one of the things you can do is you can do discovery. You can get everything that you need so that when the time comes and when you do get that court date, you're prepared and you're able to actually present a good case to the judge so that they can get a better understanding of the facts. So I think that's one thing that, again, if you're not going to reach an agreement, let's file. There's no reason for delay. The other thing is that, again, each court is treating everything differently. So depending on which court and which county, they're handling things different. There are different rules that we all must follow to show how to file something. Can we file it? Can we email it? There's all these restrictions. The good thing is that we are allowed to e-sign documents during COVID. So that's a huge benefit to my clients, because I can send you a document, you can sign it in a DocuSign program, and then we can submit it to the court.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, moving back to what we were talking about earlier and about how this is your anniversary, I was just curious for the people out there too that might be curious. How did you decide to become an attorney, and more importantly, how to practice family law?
I decided back when I was in high school, my freshman year in high school, I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do. I found the law absolutely fascinating. I was beyond intrigued with it. I needed to know everything about it. And as a grumpy teenager, it was the only thing that really made me happy. So you kind of get a good sense that, hey, look, this is something that makes me happy and I hate everyone, then it's the right move for you. And you know what? I've never looked back. I think it's a great practice. I love everything that I do about the law. And, I can't say enough about it. It's funny because people will tell me, well, um, do you encourage other people to be lawyers? And I say, if you love it, absolutely. And a lot of attorneys will try to dissuade other people, but I don't see that as reasonable because I love what I do. In terms of family law, it was one of those things that I actually wanted to go into the juvenile part of family law, helping children. So indirectly, I was kind of pushed into the family law part of it only because juvenile had a lot of restrictions when I first started out. And then I fell in love with family law because it is taking care of the children. It is caring for them. I'm just doing it in a different forum, but each and every case has a child involved for the most part. So I am helping those children, and it's amazing when you get to see them grow up and flourish.
That's incredible. So I'm really happy to hear it, and I always have to brag about you because I have done your marketing for quite a while now, over a year, I think. And I've met a lot of your clients. A lot of your clients have given you testimonials, and they just can't say enough about the amazing things you've done. I mean, you have made things fair for people where in situations where the cards were stacked against them, and you really know your law, you keep up to date on everything, and you know the right strategies to make things fair. And it's not about going out and killing the other party and knocking them down. It's about making something fair for everyone and workable, and so that everyone can still live, but everyone can be happy. And so I love what you do. I know a lot of people just couldn't live without you, and they think you saved their lives. It's amazing. So I would encourage anyone that has any questions about any type of family law matter, whether it's divorce or whether it's something to do with children. She's fantastic. She has a very matter-of-fact manner. She can come up with the strategies, and she's empathetic as well. But she's just really fantastic. So give Nicole a call if you have any questions, and she and her staff are wonderful. They will definitely take care of you. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go today, Nicole?
I think the only thing I'd like to add is very simple. When you love your job, it's going to show. And when I'm coming up with a strategy or a plan, one of the things I'm focusing on is how is this family going to be able to overcome this obstacle in the legal system, and more importantly, grow as a result of it. Because it is a difficult time. And I think the reality is, if you make it difficult on yourselves and I don't give you a reality check, then that could have lasting effects on you and your family for the rest of your lives. So again, that's my obligation to you, to show that these things need to happen for a reason and you need to move forward, and there's consequences if you kind of get stuck. My job is to educate you. Your job is to make that decision, and sometimes it's a very hard decision, and sometimes it's not what you feel is fair, but you have to look at the big picture, because again, the next 15 years of your life is going to be impacted by this, as well as your children's lives.
It's very good advice. And, that's why you need to have the right attorney. So, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you.